Hey there, tech fans. Today I'm back with a brand new product from Orei. It's the EX-500-KVM HDMI extension kit with KVM functionality. This product allows you to very easily share HDMI media content from one location with a second remote location up to 400 feet away over a single Cat6 or Cat7 LAN cable between those two locations. The product fully supports 4K ultra high definition media content at up to 60 frames per second and is both HDMI 2.0 as well as HDCP 2.2 compliant, which means it's plug and play compatible with all of your modern media gear. It also provides KVM functionality, which allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at that remote location so you can easily remotely control the computer at the primary location. And finally, this solution can be operated in a one-to-one configuration where a single transmitter will send that same media content to a single remote location, or you can add additional receivers and turn this into a one-to-many configuration where that same media content can be distributed to multiple remote locations at the same time. Now, as part of this review, I always like to start with a quick unboxing just to show you everything that's included with the basic kit, and then I'll take a closer look at the transmitter module and the receiver module, and I'll explain the connections and indicators so you understand how to use it. I'll do a quick demonstration as well to show you just how easy this product will be to use with your own equipment, and then I'll come back one more time and point out some of the special features that this product provides that you can use to compare it to other HDMI extension kits you may be considering. So let's get started with that unboxing. When you first pop open the box, you'll find a transmitter module and a receiver module. You'll find two 5-volt DC 1-amp power supplies. You can plug this end into any standard wall outlet. The other end of the cable has a barrel connection on it which plugs directly into the back of both modules and provides all the power you'll need for operation. Also included is a set of brackets you can use to mount these modules up off the ground and out of the way if you choose to do that. There's also a USB-A to USB-A connection cable for the transmitter. If you decide to take advantage of that KVM functionality, you can use this to connect the transmitter to the computer at that primary location. And then finally, there's an instruction manual included that lists connection diagrams, specifications, and a lot of other really good information about the kit that you'll want to understand to make sure you get the best value out of the product. Now, if you stay tuned next, I'll take a closer look at both modules, I'll do the demonstration, and then I'll come back with a few final thoughts. The kit includes both a transmitter module and a receiver module, and both of these feature full metal enclosures which make them really durable and a great choice for both residential or even commercial installations. Let's start with the transmitter module first. On either side of the cabinet, you'll find these ventilation slots that are really designed to let any heat that develops during operation escape, and it keeps the electronics inside at a very comfortable temperature. You'll also find mounting holes on either side that can be used with the included bracketing kit to mount these modules up off the ground and out of the way. On the front of the unit, starting on the left, you'll find a power indicator. When you add power to the module, it starts an internal power on self-test where it checks all the electronics to make sure everything's working okay. The transmitter is also checking the resolution of the media device you have connected, and once that test finishes, the LED will come on letting you know the module's ready to use. To the right of that is a KVM indicator. This unit provides KVM functionality, so when you connect a keyboard or a mouse to the remote location and you connect the transmitter to a local computer, that LED will come on indicating the KVM function is active. To the right of that is a micro USB port labeled upgrade, and that's used for upgrading the firmware on this module if needed later on. And to do that upgrade, you'll connect this to a local computer and simply move that firmware file over to the module to complete that upgrade. To the right of that is a LAN port labeled transmit. This actually connects to one end of the Cat6 or Cat7 cable between this transmitter and the receiver. And to the right of that is a reset button. You can hold that down for a few seconds to fully reset the module if needed. On the rear of the unit, starting on the left, is a DC input port, and that's where the power supply plugs in. So you'll simply plug that power supply into a standard wall outlet. The other end of the cable has a barrel connection on it, which plugs in right there and provides all the power you'll need for operation. To the right of that is a full-sized HDMI port labeled HDMI in. This connects to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote location, and always use a high-quality cable to make that connection. And then finally, to the right of that is a USB-A port. If you'd like to take advantage of the KVM functionality, you can use the cable that's included with the kit. You'll plug one end of it in here, the other end into a local computer, again to take advantage of that remote control from that secondary location. The receiver module is very similar. Again, metal enclosure, ventilation slots on both sides, mounting holes on both sides for the bracketing kit. On the front of the unit, another power indicator, another KVM indicator, an upgrade port, a LAN port, and this is where the other end of the Cat6 or Cat7 cable plugs in from the transmitter, and a reset button. On the rear of the unit, you'll find the power port right there. Again, second power supply, plug it into a wall outlet. The barrel connection plugs in there. You'll find another full-sized HDMI port labeled HDMI out. This connects to whatever monitor you'd like to view the content on at that remote location. And then finally, to the right of that are two more full-sized USB-A ports, and these are used for connecting a keyboard or a mouse at the remote location that will take control of the computer at that primary location. Now I'll show you just how easy it'll be to use the Orei EX-500-KVM with your own equipment. And for this demonstration, over here I've set up my laptop as my media device, but this can be anything with a standard HDMI output, like a DVD player or a game console or even a computer. And this is the media content that I'd like to share with my remote location. Over here I've set up a monitor at that secondary location, and this is where I'd like to enjoy the content from that primary location. And these can be up to 400 feet apart. In front of me, I have the transmitter module here and the receiver module here. Now the first set of connections I'll make are to the transmitter, and I'll start by connecting the media device directly to the unit. I've already connected a high-speed HDMI cable up to the computer. The other end of that plugs directly into the HDMI input port in the transmitter. And now I can add power. I've already plugged in the power supply. The other end of the cable has a barrel connection on it which plugs directly into the DC input port in the back of the transmitter. Now, the minute I add power, the transmitter starts that internal power on self-test where it's checking the electronics. It's also checking the resolution of my media device. Now we're ready to connect the receiver up at the remote location. I have another high-speed HDMI cable connected to the bottom monitor. The other end of that plugs into the HDMI output port in the receiver. And now I can add power there. I plugged in the second power supply. Again, another barrel connection into the DC input port. This one immediately starts an internal power on self-test, and it's checking the resolution of the monitor. The only thing we're missing at this point is the network connection between these two modules, and that has to be a Cat6 or a Cat7 LAN cable. I have a short Cat7 cable right here that I'll plug into the receiver, and the other end of it into the transmitter. And the minute I do, both of these modules handshake and make whatever adjustments are needed to give you the best possible picture at that secondary location. And there you go. So what you're viewing here is HDMI content that's been converted into a signal that can be sent over the LAN cable and then converted back into an HDMI signal for display on this monitor. Now, another nice feature this product provides is the KVM functionality, which again allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at this remote location to remotely control the computer at the primary location 400 feet away. And to do that, you can use the cable that's included with the kit. It's a USB-A to USB-A. You'll plug one end of it into any open USB-A port on your computer and the other end of it into the USB-A port on the back of the transmitter. And then you can connect the keyboard and mouse up at the remote location. I like to use wireless products, so I've got a dongle here that enables the wireless function. And I'll plug that into one of the two USB-A ports at the remote location. And you can see that I can control the mouse. So the mouse is at that remote location 400 feet away from the computer, and I can control it remotely. Now, one other really nice feature this product provides is that I can operate this product in a one-to-one configuration like I've got it now, where I've got a single transmitter and a single receiver, or I can set it up in a one-to-many configuration, which allows me to send the same media content to multiple remote locations at the same time. And I'll show you how to do that now. So to do that, you'll need an additional receiver. I've already plugged this one in, so it's ready to go. I've got a second monitor up top here that I'll connect to that HDMI output on this new receiver. And then I still need to add it to the network, and I can't do a one-to-one connection. I need a network in between. It's got to be a 1 gig E network, but I've got a switch here. You can use a really simple switch to do that, and you'll connect the transmitter to the switch, like that. And then you have to connect both of the receivers to the same switch. So I've got two more Cat7 cables here. I'll plug that one in, add it to the switch. And then I've got the second one here, another Cat7 cable, and I'll connect that to another port in the switch. And it takes a second again for the transmitter to make the adjustments for those two output monitors. And you'll see this one pop on in a second, and there you go. So again, what you're seeing is content from the primary side that's being distributed across your network to multiple remote locations at the same time, and it's crystal clear clarity. And it really is just that easy to get it working, and you can still use the KVM functionality. I hope that closer look and demonstration were helpful. Now here are a few really important things to keep in mind when you're comparing the Orei EX-500-KVM with other HDMI extension kits you may be considering. The first thing has to do with resolution. This product fully supports 4K ultra high definition media content at up to 60 frames per second. The reason that's important is because other kits on the market may only support a lower resolution like 1080p, or if they support 4K content at all, it may only be 30 frames per second. So knowing you have a kit that can handle a higher resolution at the higher frame rate means it's going to work great with all the gear you own today and deliver a crystal clear picture to that remote location. Another big difference is that this product really has two functions. It can operate as an HDMI extension kit, which allows you to easily share HDMI media content from devices like a streaming media player or a game console or even a computer at one location, with a second remote location up to 400 feet away over a single Cat6 or Cat7 cable, but it can also operate bidirectionally and provides KVM functionality, which again allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at the remote location so you can easily remotely control the computer at the primary location. And you can start with the basic kit, which operates in a one-to-one configuration with a single transmitter sending that media content to a single remote location, and you can add additional receivers to turn this into a one-to-many configuration where that same content can be distributed to multiple locations at the same time. And the final difference is the fact that this kit is both HDMI 2.0 and HDCP 2.2 certification. And the reason that's important is because the HDMI standard has gone through a lot of changes in recent years. It's got a lot of new features that have been introduced over time, and knowing you're on the latest version of HDMI means you can immediately take advantage of all those advanced features. And the HDCP certification is equally important because that controls copy protection. So knowing you're on one of the latest versions of HDCP for 4K content means you can play a wider variety of files through the solution. Everything you need to get started is included with the kit, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. So hopefully you found this review helpful. I think it's a great product, and if you need to extend HDMI content from one location to another, you might want to consider this kit. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, as always, stay nerdy